Hey, Kayvon, how you doing?
How you doing, Paul?
Good, good. Let me ask you something. This late in the season, what the record is, what the playoffs are not, all this other stuff. What would one win do for you, do you think, for the team, for the coaching staff, for your teammates, for you personally? What would just getting one win here do for you?
I think honestly, it's just about whooping somebody ass every day. And I know that's super, simple, but I think, like you said, what will one win do? Not much obviously in the grand scheme, but I think as far as, continuing to chop wood and just continue to get better as a team, I think, it'll definitely be positive.
You know what the building's like, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are going about their business and they're not happy about, what's gone on. Would one win change a little bit of that? On Sunday night, it's
I think
5 o'clock if you come out of there with a win.
I think we've been keeping the same kind of mindset towards getting better and just understanding that regardless of the wins or losses, if we were if it was totally flipped around, we'd still be trying to get better at this part of the season. So honestly, that's really it. The focus is just on individually getting better and seeing how things shake out at the end.
Thank you.
Art Stapleton.
Hey Kayvon, what's up?
How you doing, Art?
Good. You're still a young player in this league. I mean, but you're in, your year three is winding down at this point. I'm curious when you look at, that young player tag in this league, maybe from your experience, when is it okay to speak up and become a leader and be a vocal leader? Because you have a lot of young players on this team. We've talked a lot about the age, and obviously you guys need guidance in whatever circle, whatever corner of the locker room. You want guys to kind of step up and be themselves. From your perspective, how long does that take?
Well, if you ask me from a real standpoint, in my personal opinion, this is a not for long league. So telling guys that you have to wait till after a certain amount of time to be a leader is kind of like it's smoke and mirrors because the average is only 3 years. So it's like, how long do you expect a great player to come in and not say anything? That's kind of not realistic. And then on the other side of that, I think it's beneficial. Obviously, we hope that the speaking up and everything else is uplifting and for the greater good of the team. But for me, as soon as when I came in, I kind of faced the same questions as neighbors did a couple weeks ago. But I'm a guy who, I believe that this is a meritocracy, right? So if you make plays, you have a voice. If you don't make plays, you don't have a voice. That's the name of the business. So I would say, for young guys coming in, continue to make plays first, and then be an impact and leadership second.
No, I appreciate that. And I really wasn't even referring to
Yeah,
Malik.
but yeah, just
I was
any
referring
young
to,
guy in general.
yeah, maybe the younger guys, even on your defense. I mean, you guys have lost some leadership. You guys have lost some big, big voices on this team right now. I'm just curious, even from a Newbin or a Drew perspective, these are young guys playing a ton of snaps, but are they, are they welcome to kind
I
of
mean,
speak?
honestly, it's like asking a new head coach. When I came in, David was the rookie head coach, and it's like, what? He was his first time being our head coach, so he's gonna take a back seat. No, he's gonna do whatever he sees fit. So from a player perspective, if a guy sees as a part of a bad culture or a negative culture, I think it's on him or on whoever else sees it to say something and do something about it. So I definitely think as long as it's positive, as long as it's done in the right mindset, I think it's good.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Rock.
Kayvon, can you just talk a little bit about what you're going to miss this year for the rest of this year? It looks like without Dexter there, the run defense, the pass rushes, all that stuff, and the leadership. How do you guys replace all of that?
I think the reality of it is we're going to miss him, but this is going to be a great test and a great evaluation on everybody around him. The back end, the front end. We kind of joked about it as Dex can't be the crutch, right? Dex can't be our excuse on why we're playing well or why we're not playing well. We all kind of gotta each step up to the plate, right? Knowing that he one of our top guys isn't there anymore, and as far as leadership goes, it's up to us in the front end and in the back end to continue to step up, where he's now missing.
Does you think it'll change the scheme?
I
You
think
guys,
it'll
you guys
change
were
other. I
so
think it'll change other team scheme. Yeah,
yeah.
on us, definitely.
We'll take two more. Jordan Renan.
What's going on, man? Kayvon, I'm curious from a defensive perspective, where do you think you guys are mentally, like philosophically? Like, how do you move forward now without Dex?
I mean, we just keep trucking forward. I think it's, you lose any player. When the team lost me, you kind of keep pushing forward. When we lose, when the defense loses guys, offense loses guys, we just got to continue to individually get better and understand that, somebody has to fill that void in the leadership role and, from, the scheme of football.
You keep talking about leadership. I'm curious, where do you consider yourself as a leader at this
I think
point?
leadership isn't considered, like a person doesn't consider himself a leader. Like you don't consider, it's not really, it's more of a team thing.
What do you mean by that?
Like we don't, like a president don't just make himself president, like he gets voted president. And like leaders don't just crown themselves leaders, they get voted. Or like, the team looks to someone to lead rather than,
Do you think you've reached that point?
I don't think about it. I just continue to live in my light. And, if there are people that I can help on a personal basis, or if there's, a way I can uplift my teammates, I try to do it.
Last one, Brian Dunleavy.
Kayvon, I got two for you. Thanks for doing this. I'm curious how you see your season individually. Obviously, it got kind of marred by injury, but you came in talking about, big sacks, big numbers. Obviously, you had the huge year last year. How do you look at your third year individually, and how important for you is it to finish strong these last 5 games?
Definitely super important to finish strong. I think, missing out definitely hurt. I think every year I come into this, you'll probably be asking me that question on, how is the season going with how my goals are. And I think, in reality, I got to keep shooting for the stars, keep putting the work in. As long as your daily habits reflect your goals, I think you're in a good spot. So regardless of the, result, I'm just going to keep getting better. This last 5 weeks we got, I'm going to give it all I got. Hopefully I can, come out in a better place. But definitely, they're definitely hungry. There's definitely still more work out there, focused on trying to finish strong and keep having impact.
And I think the number one thing that like media and fans are talking about right now is all the former Giants who are killing it right now. Like whether it's McKinney, Saquon, Evan Ingram, Leonard Williams, Julian Love. I'm curious if that has reached you guys, and if you guys are wondering at all why. Like, why is it that these guys are doing so well in other spots, and why didn't it all come? It's a little bit of a feel sorry question, I guess, but like, do you wonder why it didn't all come together for you guys together here?
I think, after building a relationship with guys personally, I love to see what they're doing. I mean, from Leonard Williams taking back the pick 6 to Xavier McKinney, I don't know if he's leading the league still, but still, top whatever in picks. And Saquon, obviously, I mean, it's great to see from an athlete standpoint, love it. And then from a team standpoint, obviously, you wish you could have some success with those guys being former teammates. But, it is the way it is. It's the way the chips fall. And obviously, we wish that we were in a better standing right now, but we just got to keep pressing forward, and super happy for those guys. But, we got our own mountain to climb.